man, like if you're not ready to be inspired every single day, holy jeez, I don't know how you're living, especially if you're a teacher or a coach. I can be inspired by the smallest things, and that's not small, dude.
Yeah.
That, dude, I'm figuring out a way. But the only thing is I teach math, so it's not like, oh, we're going to, all these negatives and all these positives over here, and let's fight each other to see the difference. I might do something like that. So I am super excited. I am and I apologize for you earlier. And I texted you, and I know that, I know you got to see what I was talking about, but when I'm in my head, man, it's like, I'm focused on, is my room ready and all this kind of stuff. And it takes me a chance to reset and focus on what it is that is what makes me happy and passionate. And my biggest thing is relationships. So this is it's awkward. I know still for me to do it this way, but a lot more people I think know you than know me in this town. And I would say that from the sense that you get a chance to see them not just in the classroom, but you get a chance to see them on the volleyball court, basketball court, every sport that you are a part of, you get to see them from that point of view, and you get to see them during the summers. Cause it's not like for me, and I think for a lot of educators, we look forward to the summers to say this is our chance to just break away and to take care of stuff we need to take care of, and sometimes just say relax. Mm-hmm. But I think and with you, I've seen it with Pride, right? With Pride. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to get to in a second, is all the things that you do. So before I go too far, this is Tre Sanchez. Tre Sanchez is an amazing person. That's the way I always like to start it, is to say the best quality. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're a teacher. Yes, you're a coach, and you're amazing at those, but you're an amazing person. And I know that probably is weird hearing that from somebody that you don't think maybe is in the inner circle. I'm not a coach. I'm not. I'm not in the same subject field. I don't teach the same thing as you. But my thing is I'm very analytical from afar. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like to really get to know somebody without actually spending a ton of time with them and stuff like that. So I know you're amazing. So without me going too far into it, I want to know about you. I want people to know more about you, because that's the thing. I don't know a bunch, dude. I don't. Mm-hmm. So go. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Tre Sanchez, but that's my name. But actually, Tre is actually my nickname. My name is Abel Sanchez III. So that's where you get Tre from. I'm from Waco, lived in Waco for 28 years, 29 years. I mean, basically when I was born till I actually got the job here back in 2019, the 2020 year. I went to Robinson High School. If you don't know where that's at, it's a little small town about 5 to 6 miles southeast of Waco. It's about the same as far as school size as Hillsboro. But I stayed there from kindergarten through 12th grade, graduated there, enjoyed my time as a student there. I played football, got to play in a state championship game in 2006, which, we played some guys that has played at the college and the professional level. And I can talk to you more about that here if you want to know more about that. But graduated 2008, went to MCC for a couple of years. And then I got into the Tarleton program. The Tarleton State had basically an agreement with McLennan Community College that I could take classes there and still stay at home. So I did that, and I graduated in May of 2014. And, I started my teaching and coaching career there. And, I mean, we can talk about more of that, how I actually got my start. It's actually not necessarily the best, I guess the best way to, I guess for me, it was the best way to learn the business of teaching and coaching, which, I mean, part of it is this is a business, but yeah, we're serving community and things of that nature. But so I actually got my first job at Robinson.
Okay.
So it was actually pretty cool to kind of stay home and, be around the people that already know me and things like that. But I enjoyed my time there. I spent 5 years there. And then when after the 5th year, and we'll talk about this more, I know Coach Hale, our athletic director, and he, I love that man to death. Yeah. He took the job here in Hillsboro, and I knew a couple other guys that worked here, and I was kind of looking for a change. You know, my heart told me that I didn't want to stay in one place forever. I wanted to experience other schools. I wanted to go out because the world's bigger than what I say Robinson, USA. It's so much bigger than that. And so I knew Coach Hale from Groesbeck when he was at Medina Valley, and he told me, "Hey, come to Hillsboro with me." And so I came in, I interviewed, I loved everybody that was here. I talked to Coach Hale, I talked to Mr. Harvell, our principal, I talked to Mrs. Adams, and they're great, phenomenal people. So I don't think I even got out of the parking lot. And when Coach Hale called me and says, "Hey, if you want the job, it's yours."
Oh,
so talked to my folks about it, and they thought it was a great move. So here I am, starting year 5 in Hillsboro. I mean, I think we've been in this school the same. I think we came in at the same time.
So
I believe.
And that's the thing is like I'm horrible with dates. I've said that many a times before, but like the one thing that makes it easy for me to remember is like we had something happen that it's kind of hard to forget what year you started in Hillsboro. For me, for teaching and in general is like 2019. So it was a huge group that came, but that was with Coach Hale. That was with the big and that's the thing is like not a lot of people, especially the ones that aren't in education, don't see is that there is sometimes a big changeover. It's because think about it. I mean, like whenever you bring someone to a town or when someone comes to a town, whether it be for managing a store, whether it be for running, something in the city, they're going to bring the good people with them. They are. That doesn't mean that the people that were currently there that maybe, move to a different position in another district or a different position within the district that they're working in doesn't mean that they couldn't make it. They couldn't hack it and stuff like that. You just have to think if you want the best possible start, you want the best for these kids, you're going to bring with you the talent and the ones that have been there for you, the ones that who they are, their integrity. You want to bring those as many as you can. So like that was a huge year, man. That was a huge year. I remember them talking about like it was going to be the biggest convocation, new teacher orientation that the Hillsboros like had. You know what I mean? And that was a huge deal. For me sitting in there, it was like, okay, and this is kind of like, and I think a lot of males see this, especially male teachers that aren't coaches. I'm looking in there and I'm like, I'm the only male in here that like couldn't bench press over 150 pounds. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what I literally think about. Like, and I think that's just me as a guy. It's just like, we all size each other up in some sense. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I know since I was little, I walk in somewhere and I'm like, oh yeah, I could take that dude. But it's not that you had nothing against that dude. It's just, it's in our nature. Anyways. 2019, that was our first. Man, we came into Hillsboro together. That was weird. I mean, you work until spring break. Basically, spring break said, "Hey, we're gonna take an extra week, and then we'll come back and we'll figure it out." And we never came back.
Yeah, that was the craziest time because you would seem to see that in like movies, where like an illness comes. I mean, you've seen there's countless movies out there that talk about an illness or like an outbreak or something.
The movie outbreak,
outbreak. And when we got that news that we're going to shut down for another week. And then another week. And then there's a possibility we may not even come back. I was like,
yep.
Is this real? Like, is this real? And then, I mean, it was just a crazy thing that happened all around the world, man.
It was like, and so here's what I'm curious about, because like, I think everybody has their story when it comes around COVID. Like, hopefully that some aren't as bad as others. Like, and it was a horrible situation that we all went through. Exactly. Like you said, the country. But what I'm curious about is like you as a teacher, you as a coach. Like, I know what I did whenever COVID happened. Like, I went home and tried to not get fired. Like, literally, like I did not know. Like, yeah, they did the best that they could with the information they were given. They were said, all right, we're going to try to do these Zoom calls. We'll try to do this, try to get a role, try to do this kind of stuff. I know what I did, but I don't know what you did. I'm really curious. We're going from, you see these athletes, you see these students, you see them all the time. So what did you do? Man,
it was actually a very, very lonely time for me. I was kind of, when you're used to seeing those kids every single day and then all of a sudden it stops, I tried to do those Zoom calls and try to, check on them, make sure they're okay. And, we tried to do the absolute best we could with it. Downtime, I spent my time trying to watch movies or whatever. I would text the kids, hey, how you doing? Are you staying safe? Are you doing okay? Because that's what is most important, man. Like, schoolwork, yes, it's important. It's to continue their education. But when something like that, it's not only happening in the national level or it's in an international level all over the world. You just got to make sure that they're safe.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
And so, I mean, kids would tell me all the time, Coach, I'm glad you checked up on me, because that was actually a lonely time for everyone. You know. So, you know, I try to keep myself busy watching movies, or try not to eat too much, which that was kind of hard to do.
No,
you're just sitting there just doing nothing, and you're watching the news. What's the next biggest piece of news that's coming out? With all that good stuff. But I tried to manage it the best we could. And when they told us that, we're gonna get back into school, get back into the flow of things, man, I was excited. I didn't really expect me to wear a mask all year. That was a challenge in itself. But it was a key to get us back in the classroom, back to around our kids. And because kids in Hillsborough, I mean, they want people to love them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every kid wants to be loved. Some are harder to love than others, but at the end of the day, they want love.
Yep.
And we were able to give that to them during that tough time, for sure.
Yeah. So man, I'm sitting there thinking about the time when we came back. And it was difficult. And I kind of want to move on pretty quick. And the main reason why is because COVID happened, it's over and done with, and we got a ton of positive things going on since. But it was different. The whole mask thing, the whole cleaning this, cleaning that, making sure that we're walking this far apart and stuff like that. It was a big change for everybody. But ultimately, yes, I cared about what you did and how you handled it. I have no problem talking about mine, and that's great. But I think ultimately the ones that they get overlooked, it was the kids, because I was so happy that I didn't see a big regression from the kids. When they came back to school, it's not like I had to reteach them concepts that they should have had at that grade level or at that point in their life. So I was very fortunate. I don't think a lot of people were that fortunate that had such a great community, because that's what it is. And I know you know this. Especially since you've worked in more than one school district. And nothing against Robinson. I don't know anything about Robinson. I know about Hillsborough. I know about our parents. I know about the kids that show up. Man, yes, some of the kids are can be a little bit harder to love, but for the most part, those are rare. Yeah. Those are super rare. For sure. Just today, 7th grade camp, we're sitting there watching all of these parents come down with their kids. And dude, it's they want an adult to talk to them. They want to, it's not like they're nervous, oh, I don't belong. No, it's they're excited to have their kid in our building. And just knowing that and seeing our kids' faces again today, holy geez, man. Yeah, dude, that was an awesome whole deal. The whole camp, the pep rally, in years past, man, we try to get these kids, because most of the time they're nervous. Yes.
They're like, oh, do I really do this? Do I really have to do that? These kids, they were up, they were loud.
Dude.
It was awesome to see. I saw countless videos, Snapchat stories about the kids being excited to be back in school. Yep. And especially with them 7th graders, this is a new building for them. They're trying to learn all this stuff new, and we're trying to help them out. But they were excited, and every kid that I talked to, I know a good majority of the kids, whether they played Pride for me or I've just seen them around the community, or I've coached or taught their brothers, sisters, or whoever. But I asked them, hey, are you ready for school? And they said, yes, sir. I'm ready to come back. Yep. So it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a fun year for sure.
So I'm sitting there, as you're talking about it, I'm getting super excited. So that's the thing, man, I love, and I tell the people this all the time. And me and you were talking earlier in the cafeteria, and I was like, man, let's hold on a little bit, because I told you about how I love to feel the genuineness of something being talked about the first time with somebody else. Dude, you sit there and said that you felt it and you noticed the difference. So let me explain something to everybody real quick. So we had, it's called 7th grade camp day, right? It's camp day.
Yep.
So I don't know if this goes on in another district, and in many other districts. I'll say this: I know it doesn't happen in all the districts around us. So we're a week away from school starting, a week away from these kids coming back, because they start back. It's next Wednesday.
I believe it's next Wednesday.
So
yes.
Hey, if you want us to know, hey, we're just trying to get our rooms ready and trying to get everything together. So
shoot, mine's still a mess.
So yeah, no, dude, I'm with you. Mine looks put together from I think other people's eyes, but it's not for me at all. So, and we're in there right now, and I will make sure to show some pictures and stuff like that. But Man. So we're at this 7th grade camp. So this is where these kids came in, and they got here at 10, right? That's when it started at 10 o'clock.
About 10, yeah.
So yeah, they started piling probably like 9:30. They come to our auditorium. That's where first of all, they're greeted by teachers. They're greeted by the principal, by the assistant, all the admin. If you work for Hillsborough Junior High, basically you were there and you were talking and greeting and stuff like that. So it was super awesome. So we had all these the kids come in, and this was not for the parents. This is just for the
kids,
just for the 7th graders that are just now joining our campus for the first time. That will be starting classes in basically a week from today. So 10 o'clock, they all get there. Mr. Harvell sets it off the right way, and he's like, giving his introductions, and he's giving us praise, and he's talking about us and what we do as far as the campus goes. And then, man, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, like rules and stuff like that, and basically how the day was going to go. But man, once that freaking those cheerleaders took that stage, man, and you seen them doing the fight song. You see, and man, I'm not good with these. Like, so they did the fight song. They did another song.
They did the fight song. I know they did a few of the cheers that they practiced on the regular. They did like HJH stuff or maroon and white or things of that.
Yep.
And then they did I think it was like a dance
that they learned at
cheer camp.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was awesome.
So
that was awesome to see.
So like I got to express this because I've been in multiple situations in my careers that you get a group of people together and you put something that's supposed to entertain them in front of them, and then you just see people looking around like, this is awkward, like, why are we here or whatever. Like, so I'm used to that, and I'm also used to kids. Getting kids like as a cohesive unit to like get past themselves and see what's in front of them, that there's love, there's passion, that this school is different. Right? That's how I felt because like I was literally, as they started doing the first cheer, it was one of the first cheers, they were doing maroon, white, like something like that. Like those are the kind of things that go to a football game, go to a basketball game, and in a smaller size school. We're a 4A school. I think that we probably have 300 kids roughly on campus, about 150 per 7th grade and 8th grade. It could be a little bit off, 300 kids, right? So we're not talking about a lot of kids. There was just the 7th graders, and it wasn't even all of them. And like, man, I don't want to say almost, man. I want to give them the credit they deserve. I did not see a single one of them sitting down, not cheering. Like they were getting into it, dude. They were ripping out those words like maroon and white, fight. And it was genuine. Like you got a couple goofballs or whatever, but they were still participating in what was going on.
Yep.
Man.
It was really fun to see, man. I mean, like I said, it was in the years past, we didn't get that. We had to force the kids to do something like that, and it shouldn't be that way, And so with this group coming in, maybe it sets an example of, okay, we're going to do this 7th grade. You're going to be energetic. You're going to have some pride in your school. Don't just do it because you're forced to do it. You should be like, oh, we're standing up, we're doing cheer. All right, let's go. Let's do it. How much pride do you have?
I love that word, pride.
Yeah, it was just, it's one of my favorite words. Just have a lot of pride in everything you do, man. Teaching, coaching, impacting anything. Do have pride in whatever, in everything you do.
And I'm sitting here listening and acting surprised, like I don't know why. Like it was like it surprised me that they were like that. But then sit back and ask and this is a real question, and I already know that what answer you're gonna give because I know who you are and I know how you think. But like let me give my answer too. If someone said like, how do you like working at Hillsborough Junior High? Every single time, I love every second of it.
My exact answer.
I love every stinking second of it. When I go into Walmart and I see people I used to work with, they're like, how do you like your job? You want to come back? I'm like, no offense, but no, I'm not coming back. And it's nothing against that, but it's like I love my job so freaking much, dude. Like I've said it before and I've heard other people say it too. Like I get to do this. I get to work. I get to be with these kids, which is amazing, but I get to work at a school district that is like record breaking on scores, on not just star scores. That's great. And that's, I care, but like, it's not that important. Important is, did they have growth? And did they feel safe? And my thing is, growth isn't just numbers on a score sheet. Growth is, man, how are they talking with people at the beginning of the year, and how did they leave our school?
Right.
Or how did they start their summer? Man, to see some of these kids come out of their shell is like wild. You know what I mean? Especially whenever you get to see these intermediate teachers that haven't seen them get out of the shell, that they see them later on, and you hear them say like, who is that? man, I'm a small part of that, and like I get to be a part of that. That's just wild.
Yeah, that's exactly what you just said, man. You get to do it. You don't have to do this. You get to do this. You get to impact kids, and like you said, just want to see growth, not only in the numbers, but how are they when we get them at the very beginning and when they leave for the summer? How much growth, how much change did they have? Those kids are coming in. They may not even speak to anybody that's grown. And then all of a sudden they come in and then they're giving you a fist bump, or they'd say, "Hey, Mr. Ennis, how's your day?" Or things like that. So yeah, I want to see growth, man. Just want to see growth.
All right, I was gonna go somewhere, but you said it, so I gotta go from there because I was sitting there in the ride over here from my house, and I was texting you and stuff like that. But I was sitting there thinking about, because I don't ever like plan anything I want to talk about, because then it's not like what it is. Like then it turns into like, oh, like we're just answering questions that people care about. And it's not even about that. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what is the thing I remember about Tre? And like, you gotta stick with me, because I promise you it's a good thing.
Okay. I got you, man. What you got?
All right. So I get this every year, and I know every teacher does. Like they will get asked, like, who's your favorite teacher, or who's your favorite student last year, or who's your favorite student this year, that kind of stuff. And I always tell my current 7th graders the same thing. I don't have a favorite student until after y'all leave, until at the end of the year, like the last day of school when we give the awards and stuff like that. Then like I don't have a favorite. I don't think any teacher truly has, oh, I love this student more than the other, but you make the connections that are deeper with some of them and that mean more to you or in a different way. So my student of the year, not this last school year, but it was the one ending in 2022, was Ashley Gallegos.
Okay.
So
love Ashley.
Absolutely. I know you do.
Ashley.
So that's why you're in this story. So, so like Ashley, like, all right, so let me explain just a second about her. So Ashley is one of those that she will do anything you ask her to do, and she'll do it. She'll ask you what the expectation is, and then she'll double that, like as far as the results that she gives you. She's a worker, man. So like I see some of myself in her, but I consider her like she's more intelligent than I was, and she performed better in school than I did at her age. But now, like, man, it's just like, because so let me give you an example. So like every single test that we would do, there's always the one student, and maybe not anymore, and not that common, but that would come up to me and ask me, "Hey, can you grade it for me right now? What did I get?" Right? And I had an option. I had an option with her to sit there and tell her the first time, like, I'll grade them at the end. Like I'm focused on watching the kids to make sure, obviously none of them's cheating, none of them's talking, they're focused, none of them sleeping. But like, that's how I wanted to keep that routine. I wanted to say no, like I will grade it once everybody's done. But then she let me say no the first time. And then the second time she did it with like that little Ashley smile. She was like,
yeah.
Please.
That's a classic Ashley smile, man.
Yes,
that's a classic one.
And she's like, "Mr. Ennis, but please." So I did, man, and I did ever since. You know what I mean? And it was like, and you know if it's going to be a grade that they're going to be happy with, okay with, or they're not going to be too pleased with. So like it was one of those that like I had to know what that was with her before I kind of let her see or whatever. I mean, not everything was great, but I'm gonna tell you most of them were. But her growth and her effort for me was amazing. So I call her Ashley. I know you call her Ash, and a lot of people do, but like she was my girl. You know what I mean? Like, and when I say my girl, like she's like I don't know, like she's like my daughter. You know what I mean? Like that's how I saw her, because that's how she did. She worked for me like that. She cared. She went and taught other people and stuff like that didn't quite get stuff. So here's where you come in. So we're in the hallway and you're upstairs, because like and for you to be upstairs, for people that don't know, Tre's classroom is not on my side of the school. So there is an east side and a west side, and my directions are horrible. So this is the east side.
We're right on the east side. The other side of the school is the west side.
East is better. West is over there. Okay, so you're on the west side. You're on the west side. So you were up here, and I don't even know if you remember. You probably don't, because you did it with her all the time. I know you did. But you were over here leaned on this rail, and it was 2 years ago. Well, it might have been it was 2 years ago, and Like she walked by me first, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Mr." And she gave me the half hug, which like that's my thing. Like that's just the right thing to do for guys. Like that's what I feel. Okay, so she gave me the half hug, and she immediately went to you, and there was a difference. There was a change. It went from half hug, this is our routine, to Holy Jesus, Santa Claus is right there, and we're about to do our handshake real quick.
Yeah.
And I got to watch y'all's handshake, and man, like I've seen it on the news, and I've seen it on TikTok and Facebook back in the day. This teacher that memorizes and creates handshakes for all these people and stuff, and I thought it was so cool. But I'm gonna be straight with you. I didn't think I was cool enough to do it. Like me as a person, I didn't think that I was cool enough as a teacher for the kids to want to do it with me. But whenever I got to see her do it with you, and I got to see how happy she was just to see you, and the handshake was just extra, dude, man, like I was jelly. I ain't gonna lie, I was jealous like big time.
Man,
like,
it
really
was yeah, me and Ashley, she was in my class. I had her as a student. She was an excellent student, just like you had her. And we had a pretty good little relationship. I learned how she clicked in the classroom and things that she likes, things she doesn't like. But she always loved having something special with one of her teachers or two of her teachers or whatever the case may be. And we just decided to do just a simple little, handshake, fist bump, and roll. And then she had the idea, it's like, we should add something every 6 weeks to it. Do it every day. And, and if I got it wrong, she'd be like, "Coach, you forgot. Come on now." And so she kept me in check, and then it got to the point where the whole handshake takes, I'm not kidding you, man, it takes almost a good maybe minute and a half now. And we do it right every single time. And that's just the connection that me and Ashley have. I love her to death, love her as a kid, as a student, as a player. I see her working hard and everything that she does, man, but that's something that will stick with me for forever. We'll come back, 10 years from now, I maybe run into her at Walmart and says, "Hey, Coach, you remember that handshake we did?" And we'll probably get it right every single time, just because that's just the thing that we had, man. It was, man, I say, Ashley, I know I have as I tell my kids, I have 80 to 90 students in my class throughout the day. I have 80 or 90 favorite students, but really I have about 300 favorite students because I interact with everything, man, with all these kids around here. So I really have 300 favorites, and that's not even counting the high school kids that I get to interact with every day. So, I never really have a favorite student, but that's just how I roll, man. But it's, like I said, that's just, I love Ashley to death, man. She's just awesome. No,
she is. Like, man, so I'll say this, like, because like I don't talk a bunch about, and I did an episode on it and stuff like that, but like just real quickly, like wasn't always a teacher. Before, in my previous career, I got my satisfaction with raises, with awards, with being approved to train people on stuff like that. Yeah. That was my reward, and those lasted. Like the best situations, maybe a week. The high was about a week. My endorphins and everything, I was happy. So I did that for 20 years. I came on the teaching side. I get those all the time, and they last longer. I get them on a daily basis. So I would say this for anybody that is thinking about teaching, like, and especially for the young people. But here's my thing: I'm not young. Like I don't consider myself old. I'm 41 years old, But I didn't start whenever I was out of college. It's never too late. And also, I barely graduated high school. I barely graduated college. Heck, my principal had to sign, Patrick Carvel, he had to sign a waiver he's probably never seen before saying, "I will take this guy," even though his GPA was probably like a 2.1 or a 2.2. I barely graduated college. Like I had the lowest minimum just to get my degree in marketing. So I say that anybody can do it. And I don't want anybody to sit there and say that, "Oh, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough." Like I heard this today and I hear it a lot. And I don't think that they're talking about me, even though I know that they are when they're talking to me, but they say some of the greatest teachers didn't start right out of college or whatever. And like, man, I think that's kind of true. Not to all, absolutely. But like, I would not be anywhere near as effective right now if I didn't have those experiences before. Right. If I would have came right out of college, I wouldn't have had the failures I had on the business side. You know what I mean? So like all that to say, like if anybody is thinking about teaching, I'm telling you, teaching or coaching, teaching and coaching, do it all. Do it all. First of all, do it all, because at the end of the day, I get to say that I made a difference, not on the bottom line of profit and loss, but I made a difference in someone's life. That's exactly right, man. Like I said, we're not in here for the money. I mean, even though
we're getting there. You know, we'll get there at some point. But the rewarding part of this profession is you're impacting these lives, you know, in a positive way. These kids are gonna come back 5, 10, 15 years later. Says, you remember when you were in Mr. Ennis's math class, and it wasn't necessarily the content, but it was just the overall experience that you have. Or you come to me and say, hey, coach, you remember we did this thing over, you know, the Alamo or whatever. But I remember one more thing with that you made it more than just, you know, an event. You were able to show us, you know, things, you know, to make it more realistic for us. And, you know, it's just that's the most rewarding thing. And I hear it all the time from Coach Hale, Coach Hewitt, who's our assistant AD, and Mr. Harvell. You know, it's just, this is a very demanding profession, but it's also very rewarding. So it's very, very rewarding, you know. And like I said, the money whole thing, you know, it is what it is. You know, hopefully it'll get better, which it is. But the bottom line is, man, you just got to impact lives. You gotta make sure you take care of kids and do what's best for these kids.
What I can't wait for is the day when one comes back, like after they're an adult. You know what I mean? Like, so my first class that I taught are now seniors. So I had Landon Tucker, right?
Landon Tucker,
Joe Malacara. I had a lot of those. I had a very small group. So I did what, you know this, you were here, obviously, but just other people don't know this, but I did what Lewis does. Like, I was the interventionalist. I don't even know how to say it.
Interventionist.
Yeah, there you go. I was that one. So I had small groups of kids. So I might have had only 30 or 40 kids that whole year. But those 30 or 40, I got to see some of them walk through our hallway at the end of last year that I didn't even know were graduating early. And it was like, dude, it was Natalie Duffy. Like, I mean, just, oh my gosh, just like made me so happy, you know, and I just want to see what they do, you know what I mean? And I won't take credit for it, and you're not going to take credit for nothing like that, but I'm going to tell you that one day that one of them comes back and tells you that you impacted their life and helped them get to where they are. Dude, I don't know if I can, I hope that, I don't care if I cry or not. I don't care where I am, but if that happens, dude, man, that's better than any bonus check. That's better than any like, to me, any life accomplishment that I personally made, because that, knowing that I had the smallest of impact on someone's success or someone's betterment, or just being a memory in someone's head. Yep. Like that's the reward. That's the reward.
That's the ultimate reward, man. That is, you know, I'm just telling you, just the impact that you make, and then they come back and say thank you. That's better than any big check that I may get or anything like that. That's just a thank you for what you do. Yeah, man. You know, you mentioned, you know, Landon Tucker. You know, that was one of your first guys. That's Tuck. That's Tuck, man. It is an awesome kid. You know, and make sure you come out to watch the football team. You know, Tuck's on that team, and a lot of good guys are on that team. So y'all come out and watch for sure. Even though I'm not coaching football, I'm still going to be there. I'm going to see if someone can beat me with being the loudest person out there. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, I'll try. I'll try. Like, but hey, so this is something I did want to talk about. Like, it wasn't planned or nothing like that, but I'm sitting there thinking about, as you're talking, what makes me and you different, right? So obviously, where there's an age difference, not a big age difference. I would like to say it's just a couple of years, even though I know it's more than a couple of years. But you're not anywhere close to 41 years old. I have 3 kids. You know, but the difference that I really see, that I'm afraid of myself, because I'm afraid of how I don't think I could handle it, which is being a teacher and a coach. Like, dude, like I had the chance to listen to Jamie talk about Josh and her doing powerlifting and stuff like that. Josh doing the different sports he does, and talking about how late they get home, how late you get home, what it requires on weekends, on summers and stuff like that, dude. So like, tell me about that, man. How are you able to do it?
Man, you know, it all starts, you know, you got to love what you do. If you dread coming to work, it's going to be hard for you, you know. And when I mentioned a little while ago, you know, I kind of learned the business before I actually got a job as a teacher and a coach. So what I did was, when I was in college, I went to Robinson when I was still living there at the time, and I talked to the head football coach over there. His name's Tommy Allison. And Tommy Allison is a great guy. He is currently coaching. He's the head coach at up there in Prosper with a school that has just been built. They're starting their first year. It's called Walnut Grove.
Okay.
And he's a great guy. I basically told him, hey, I'm in school right now. I'm trying to be a teacher, become a coach, but I want to learn just little things about the job to see if this is what I really want to do. Because I coached Little League basketball, I coached Little League football and stuff like that, but that's just stuff that you kind of do after work and, just kind of get your feet wet a little bit. And so he said, yeah, come on out. I can't pay you, obviously. That's against everything.
No,
you can't do that, but you can learn the business.
Yeah.
And so if I wasn't at work and if I wasn't at school, I was out on the football fields helping out the coaching staff as much as I could. I'm doing this all for free, which is crazy. Like, you're doing all this work for free? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So, I'd go to practice. I'd go sit on the sidelines in the games and kind of see it. And then there was one day where I said, hey, I want to see if I can actually handle this. And so I stayed late night with some of the junior high coaches when they were breaking down film.
Okay.
So we were up there till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and is this what I want to do? So I got to do that a couple times, and then I did that. Plus, went to sit up at the 8 o'clock Saturday morning meetings. Can you go till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and then get up 5 hours later to be there and then try to slave it away? It's crazy. It's crazy to think about that, but I did that, and as tired as I was, I still enjoyed it. And so I did that for 2 years, got around the football program, the basketball program, the baseball program. Even though I've never officially coached baseball, I was around it.
Right.
And so when I graduated, I knew this is what I want to do. I need to find something, And so I was very fortunate to go back home to Robinson, and I was a teacher and a coach. I coached football, basketball, track, all that good stuff. And, the work in the hours, the long hours, the 60, 70, 80 hours a week, it's a grind. It really is a grind. And like I said, you got to love the profession to survive through it, And so, with that being said, and then you're kind of putting your life on hold for, if it's football, you're putting your life on hold from August 1st till hopefully it ends in a state championship in December.
Right.
And you're going in 80, 90 hours a week, spending Saturdays, spending Sundays up there, and you're kind of thinking, well, how much time do I have for myself?
Right.
And that's just part of being a coach. It's not enough that what we do, get to be like a stipend, but it's getting better, especially here. We've been very fortunate these last few years.
Absolutely.
And then the other side of it, when I talked about life, seeing my folks, seeing my brother, my nieces and nephew that are less than two. My niece Lucy, she's 20 months old, I believe, and then my brother's got 2 twins that are, I think, 4 or 5 months old.
Yeah.
And then your relationships. It takes a strong person to be with a coach, to be dating a coach. And my wife, shout out to my wife Crystal, love you, mi amor, and she accepts what I do. She's very supportive of what I do, and all she asks is, when are you going to be home? What do you need? And things like that. And it works. And it works. And, to see her at basketball games and then after a game when it's, if we won or if we lost, that 30 minutes, that hour that we get, that's what we get. And then when I do get home, we don't even talk about work. I'm home,
No, absolutely.
So it takes a special group of people, a special someone to accept what a coach does. And then I'm talking about the coaching stuff. Then you have to make time for the teaching.
Absolutely.
And the teaching is a full-time job already. Making lesson plans, making sure that your kids are engaged. Are you covering your TEKs? Are you covering this and that? So it can weigh heavy on someone, but it comes to it. You've got to love what you do to make it through. Because if you struggle through it and it's just like, I don't really want to do this, then you need to go find something else to do.
And that's what it is. And I think a lot of people, especially at a young age, they don't really fully like do what you did. That man, like, and I'm so glad you said that now. Like, stuff doesn't hit me until a few seconds later. But like, as I'm trying to talk, I'm sitting there thinking about like the teachers that only do it for a couple years, the coaches that only coach for 1 year and then they only maybe teach for a year and then they leave altogether.
Yeah,
man, like at a young age, do what you did. Like, I wish that I would have like done that. Like in other thing in my life is find a way to see what it's like.
Yep.
You know, so like, man, that speaks so much volumes because then like imagine like it's not like you're doing anything like, and a lot of times it's not like you're doing a whole bunch else at a certain age, at that early age. Like if you have the time, invest that. Okay, you're not going to work for money, but you know what you get out of it could change your whole course of your life.
Yep.
To say either that's going to make me even more passionate, want to do it, or say, you know what, there's things that is not that important to me that other stuff is, and this is not going to be the right thing for me. Because ultimately, just like what we said before, the ultimate reward is seeing the impact on these kids. We want that impact to be positive. And I think that sometimes if you get out there and you let them see the frustrations you're having with your life, that rubs off on them, man.
Yeah,
that rubs off on them.
It does, for sure.
And then you can just hope for the coaches like you. Like there's a lot of coaches like you, and we're fortunate in this district to have them here. But man, I started this like to say that I can't imagine, and I don't. Me and you are different. So like, I want to make sure that like that you get the full credit, and other coaches get the full credit that they deserve too. So like, when I used to work for Walmart, it's 40-hour weeks. That's a very common thing. Manager, maybe 50 hours a week. Okay, so that's what we do teaching. That's what we do as teachers. Okay, that's great. Let's talk about extracurricular. Let's talk about anything outside of that. I mean, one sport alone, like going through that time period, during those weeks, you're going to put in just as many hours as you did teaching, if not more.
Yep.
So
100%.
And like if you want to break down how pay works, the bulk of your pay comes to being a teacher.
Yes.
And then you get this other part that gets added on. It's different in every district. It's different for different coaching, different schools and stuff like that. But this other part, let's just call it what it is. It's little in comparison to the teacher pay. So think about it that way. You're getting paid to be a teacher, and then it's like, hey, there's a whole bunch of this other life that we want you to be a part of in these kids' life, but it's going to be substantially less money. That's not a shot at anybody that makes those decisions. That's just a fact.
Yep.
Anybody that has known a coach and has been experienced in that life knows that. That's a fact. You don't get equal pay for doing this other whole job.
Right.
And a lot of times is the one that impacts more than the teaching job, because you're able to get these kids to break down. You're able to break those walls and open up and impact them in ways that in the classroom, having a group of 24 kids and a content that you have to cover in a 50-minute class period, you don't have that chance to have those one-on-ones, those open conversations.
100%. 100%, man. Yeah,
dude.
It's a grind, man, but it's very rewarding for sure.
I'm gonna call it what it is. Like I'm not gonna say good. I'm not a strong enough person to do it, and I get it. Other people have different things in their lives, but I only say that to say that, man, all kudos to you, what you do, like the other coaches too. But man, I'm not talking to other coaches. I'm talking to you. So you know what I mean? I know what you do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just just having appreciation for the coaches that put in all that work, man. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of sacrifices. And that's kind of the word. Just you sacrifice a lot to, service these kids and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to, whether it's on the field, courts, classrooms, all that stuff, man. It's a sacrifice, but it's rewarding at the very end. Absolutely.
So, all right, man. So I got something for you, and like, cause I'm sitting there thinking about like, we can sit there and talk about all this stuff that makes sense to, like kind of everybody is in general, like they might be listening to stuff like that. But I want to know what's like the coolest experience, like as a teacher or coach, or like maybe one of both. Like I think everybody has one or has a few.
Man, so I've had quite a few, man, just to pick one.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you.
Gosh, I mean, I've had so many cool experiences, man. With my short career, I mean, I'm starting year 10 right now. So, I mean, I've had other teachers that have been teaching 20, 30 plus years. I mean, just to make some type of the content come alive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, rather than just do something like, you're reading something out of a book. That's used to be the cool thing, reading something out of a book or watching a video and stuff. But kind of trying to find some way to take it to the next level. So, for example, we did something over the Alamo. Everybody knows the Battle of the Alamo. The big battle that was between the Mexican Army with Santa Anna against a group of Texans or bandits or however they want to call them. That was led by Crockett and Bowie and Travis and all those guys. And I was like, okay, how can I make this more realistic? Or not necessarily realistic, but more than just getting a video out of it or something like that.
The different learning types.
The different learning types.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I actually one year, I think that it wasn't here, but I did it at Robinson. I think it was one of my last years there. And I said to myself, what if I'm able to mimic the Battle of the Alamo? Do it, have like the lights dimmed, because it was at nighttime. It was at 5 o'clock in the morning when that happened, and I had a group that was designated as the Texian Army. I had a group that was the Mexican Army, and it was just about random. I told the kids to pick out something. I had a bowl. It says, okay, you're either going to be a Mexican soldier or you're going to be a Texan soldier, and that's where you're going to be. No changing, no nothing. So obviously, the Mexican Army was much bigger than the Texans. They had 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 folks. And the Texans only had maybe less than 200.
Yeah.
So obviously there was more people that were designated as the Mexican Army than they were the Texan Army.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Just kind of do it for fun, but kind of get the gist out of it. So I had the people that were designated as the Texans act like you're asleep. Because they were asleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could go for hours on this stuff, man. I could go hours, because I'm very passionate about history.
Absolutely.
But they were sleep deprived for 2 weeks. So you have to act like you're in a deep sleep. And then the ones that are the Mexican Army, you're going to slowly creep up.
Yep.
And then start attacking. And the way that we attacked it was with little, we grabbed note cards and put them in little balls like this. Everybody had 4 little note card balls that they had to use, and so we did that, and we reenacted the Alamo for about a minute or two, and you would think, oh man, I had to have a big room to that, which I actually did when I was at Rob's. I had a big classroom, so I was able to do that, but the kids remember that, the ones that when I left, I left Robinson 5 years ago. I actually had a kid last year that I taught in the 7th grade at that time. He goes, hey, coach, you remember that time we did that Battle of the Alamo in your classroom? I was like, dude, you remember that? That was like 2016. He goes, coach, that's one of the most memorable things I've ever done. We've never done anything like that before. And I was like, man, this is actually, I was like, I need to start doing that more often. And I've always wanted to do that, but either I didn't have time to do it for the years or whatever. But yeah, dude, and just to kind of sit at my desk and kind of watch the kids, because they knew exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
The Mexican Army would take over the Alamo, and I'm sure people have seen the movie with Billy Bob Thornton and all those.
Absolutely.
And he's on his last stand, and he's executed right there in front of the Mexican Army on direct order of Santa Anna, and we mimicked that. Surprisingly, I mean, we did it with little note card balls. Nobody was hurt or anything, but we were able to mimic that. And someone was designated as Davy Crockett. Someone was designated as Jim Bowie. You had to act sick in the corner because he was sick, and it was so awesome. And this come from a coach. Like, coach, you do that? Aren't you supposed to be your stereotypical coach? No, I'm not your stereotypical coach. I don't. And I'm not saying that to be bad on all coaches, because coaches are great educators. Sorry, I can't talk about educators. But we do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We're not boring people. We want to always be the impact and things that. So
you're not the stereotypical coach from back in my day that, again, not all of them were like this, but like put their feet up on their desk, break out the Dallas Morning News from that morning or the Hillsborough Reporter, and look at the scores for the sports page and stuff like that. That is because it's not just me that said it. Multiple people have said it. That was the typical coach. Yeah. Right. So I get it.
And that was I didn't want to be that stereotypical coach. Yeah. And so the cool thing, man, just to have that kid call me and say, hey, do you remember we did that? I'm like, man, that's bringing back some memories, man. And so it makes me feel really good as an educator. It's like, hey, I did more than just teach these kids about a content area. I was able to realize, make it come to life. And it had an impact, man. It was awesome.
So man, as you're talking about this, as you went into detail, like it took me a second, because it does take me a second to envision stuff as people are saying it. But once I got it, and you talked about the note cards, how you rolled them up into balls and stuff like that, and use those as like the ammunition or whatever. Man, I'm getting so excited, because, dude, just imagine that. Like, and I'm talking to you as if like you don't know this already. Man, I didn't have that in school. A lot of kids don't have that in school.
I never had that in school.
I had a teacher and many teachers, and that was the way it was, that said they took turns reading a passage, a paragraph in a book. That was my history, English, every single teacher that had books. We took turns reading it. I'm embarrassed. I have no idea what I just read, even if I was forced to read it 5 times. You give me a date, I don't know. I don't know what that is. But the second that you tie a sickness to, who was it? Was it Davy Crockett?
So the one that got sick was Jim Bowie.
Jim Bowie. So, and that's just to show you that, man, I wasn't great in school. I don't even know that. But see, that's what I'm saying. You tied that to a specific student. Students now remember, Tucker, whoever. Tucker was Jim Bowie or whatever. He was the one that was sick. This was Santa Ana over here. That was played by whoever, Joel. You know what I mean? They tie all that together, and then you made it fun. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You made them learn it. You made them understand it, but then they got to enact it. So even with me saying that, I'm getting super excited, because we got back on our campus this year. We got theater arts back on our campus. Mm-hmm. We got Travis Epling, which is a beast of a dude. I love that dude to death. But I'm so happy. I'm sitting there thinking about, dude, you did cross curricular. We didn't even have, no, that was at Robinson, right? Yeah. But you did cross-curricular. You brought theater arts into the classroom with a social studies, with a lesson. You got them to get out of their shells. You got them to speak in front of classes, act out. You got them to do so much more than learn a history lesson. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, man. I hear this a lot from parents. Like, man, I wish this was my classroom when I was a kid. I wish that I had you as a teacher. I wish that we got to do that PBL with the Legos and all this kind of stuff. I hear that all the time, and I'm like, man, I do too. Yeah. So like, what am I doing about it? What are you doing about it? You're doing it. You did it. Man, I love that story, dude. Yeah, I love that story. It's an awesome story, man. I love that story, because as like, let's talk about, like, real quick, just, man, how much money did you spend on that?
Oh man, on those note cards, it was probably $10.
$10, right?
$10.
So like, for high-end note cards for $10, right? So, but note cards, you bought a bunch of note cards, and you had, I guarantee, more than just the person that you talked to, that they will never forget that never forget it in their entire lives. Mm-hmm. $10 to make that impact on a student. Impact to not only remember something great about school, great about a coach/teacher, and also great about a way to learn something. Mm-hmm. They now tied something to the learning. They tied fun to learning.
Yep.
Holy jeez.
That's so impactful, man.
You inspired me today. Like, no, I'm being for real. And that's the thing, man. Like, if you're not ready to be inspired every single day, holy jeez, I don't know how you're living, especially if you're a teacher or a coach. I can be inspired by the smallest things, and that's not small, dude. Yeah. Dude, I'm figuring out a way. But the only thing is I teach math, so it's not like, oh, we're going to, all these negatives and all these positives over here, and let's fight each other to see the difference. I might do something like that. I seriously will, dude. Oh, my gosh, that is so cool.
There's one thing, I just want to tell what you did, especially this past year, when the kids are getting ready for their STAR test, and I know you're probably know exactly what I'm about to talk about, is when you guys put those inspirational or those motivational notes with those kids that were getting ready to take the test. I just kind of looked at them, and normally, some people would write the same thing and they just copy and paste and put their name on there, but you made yours personalized. It's like, dude, like I had a bunch of kids in those because I was looking at kids, their note cards like Wade Garrett I had in there, or Jenna, or Genesis that I had. He said, hey, you do really well. You've rocked it all year. Now go rock it today. I was like, dude, if I was able to do that I would try to do that same exact thing, but you made it personalized, you know. And here I'm flipping this thing on you for a minute, but you made it personalized, and it was you. I believe it was
Miss Rodriguez.
Miss Rod. Miss Rod, awesome teacher.
I got the idea from her, so absolutely.
Yeah, awesome teacher. You know, awesome. I'm glad that she's here.
Oh.
And dude, when I looked at that, I was like, and those kids looked at it, and they'd sit there before the test was getting ready to get started, and they would just kind of stare at it. I was like, man, Miss Rod and Mr. Ennis were able to give them one last bit of, hey, you've got this. You know what to do. You are prepared. You're ready to go rock this thing. And when we started that test, man, they did. And like I said, I haven't been in y'all's math classes. You know, I don't know what all the techniques y'all do. Y'all do a ton of stuff to get those kids ready for that test. And they went out there and they tried every little technique to make sure they get all the information to make the right decision on, or making a choice on that test. And, you know, just walking around and doing that, I was like, and y'all did that not only with your preparation throughout the whole school year, but with that last little note that I just called it the last little note. And, you know, the kids, when they got kind of tired, you know, when the kids get tired, they kind of just go, you know, like that. And I tell them, hey, refocus. Out of the 20 some odd kids that I had in there, every single one of them looked at that note at some point. They didn't just put it underneath their desk. They didn't put it underneath on their seat, or they didn't, you know, flip it over. They kept it. If we're in a desk right here in this little prime bottle, it was right there. It's awesome, dude. It was awesome. That was an awesome idea. And I think part of that is the reason why our scores were so high. Not only your preparation, but y'all gave them that little extra push and say, hey, you've got it. You have the confidence. You have the confidence in all of your students, and you know that they're going to do well. And they went out there, dude, and they freaking rocked it. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that you know that what y'all did was not going unnoticed. I'm just telling you right now, man, because when I saw it, I was like, what in the world is this? It's notes from Mr. Ennis, from Miss Rod. Hey, go get it. So that's awesome, dude.
Man, I'm sitting there holding back tears, and the reason why is, and two reasons. The first one is that I got to see the students that took it in my class, and I got to see it in other classes that, man, they didn't go in the trash. Those notes didn't go in the trash. Like, I seen it like in the front of binders in the little plastic sleeve. I seen it taped to their Chromebooks. You know what I mean? And like, that to me was amazing. But here's the other thing. On star days, I don't have any idea what you do in your classroom. You don't have any idea what I do in my classroom, or nowhere, anywhere in the building, because you got to be there. You have to take care of those kids, and you can't leave, right? Go to the bathroom. But so I can't be a fly on the wall. But to hear that from any other teacher, especially you, man, it means a lot. You know what I mean? It means a lot, because it's like you feel validated. Yep. You know, you feel validated, but I don't feel validated for the work that I did, but I feel validated in the how much it meant to those kids. Yep. You know what I mean? How much those kids mean to us, because at the end of the day, if yes, we had an 89% pass rate, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't 90, so that kind of hurts our feelings a little bit. You know what I mean?
You always want to do the best you can, for sure.
It's not the A. But ultimately, what we get upset about is when we go down the list and we see the ones that didn't get where we wanted them to be and where they wanted to be. And then it's convincing yourself before you start the next school year that you didn't fail that kid. You know what I mean? You didn't. Not I'm talking about fail them in the grade book. You didn't fail them because you could have done more. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that I'm very fortunate to work with Jennifer for, because we both share that. I think she has a little bit stronger in her, and because like it's okay to get emotional. It's a good thing to get emotional, especially about your kids. And when we get emotional together, we have to like remind ourselves we're really good teachers. You know what I mean? And we did the best that we could. And if we don't feel like we could, we're not going to hold it against ourselves. We're just going to do better for this next year. Right. You know what I mean? Yep, so absolutely, I'm very fortunate to work with her. Man, I appreciate this. I know it's been a little while. Like, what time we got right now?
Man, we're at 6:05.
So it's been a while. So I don't want to take more of your time, dude. I would say this. I would love to at a future time to talk to you again. I really would. Man. I really would. It means a lot to me. It does. I'm not good with social out there, and everybody can have their own thing. But my thing is, like, when we get in our staff meetings and stuff like that, that's not my comfort zone. My comfort zone is when I can sit across from somebody and talk to them and just be real and not worry about what this person is looking at, or are they smiling at me the wrong way or whatever. And not to say they would, but that's where my mind goes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I know the kind of person you are. I feel comfortable saying, absolutely, I want to have this dude on.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on, dude. And I've watched your episodes. This whole thing, dude. This thing is awesome. And when I messaged you, I was like, man, what do I got to do to get on this? Because I just want to be a part of your your vision on all this stuff. You want to get out and get out in the community and talk to folks and get to know them, and stuff like that. And I was asking you today. I was like, what are you going to ask me? I was like, at the back of my mind, I was like, you know what? Just wing it. If whatever he asks you, whatever he wants to talk about, let's talk about it. You know? So, but yeah, man, this is awesome. This whole thing is awesome. You're an awesome dude. I love talking to you. I love interacting with you. And every time I come by your classroom, I'm like, man, wait, he put something else new up in here. I want to kind of have this type of classroom where kids can come in and feel comfortable. And those Friday mornings Fridays that you're kind of blasting music, which I'm not unfortunately gonna be able to hear because now I'm on that so-called dreaded west side over there.
West side.
Maybe I'll make a trip around here maybe once or twice to see what kind of music you're playing for the day. And it's awesome. When I was downstairs and I got to look forward to that every Friday. Just all right, crank it up. It's not a boring morning. It's a Friday morning. It's here in Hillsboro. Let's turn it up and let's roll. So, but yeah, dude, this is awesome. I appreciate you, having me on. And I would definitely want to do this again. We can talk about anything. Like I said, I'm an open book, man. I got nothing to hide. If you want to talk about chess and checkers, which it wouldn't be a very long conversation. It wouldn't be a long conversation.
There's a rook. You want me to spell rook? I have no idea. I'll be like, Courtney, how do you spell rook?
But yeah, dude. Anything you want to talk about, school, sports, life, man, I'm all for it, dude. And
absolutely.
The people watching, this guy, he's a blessing. You are a blessing, man. And I see you trying to tear up right now, but it's okay. You are a blessing, and you're somebody that I actually look up to all the time, man. The impact that you make on these kids, teaching math, and even if you act goofy when you're in the auditorium, you're just trying to greet kids, and that's just you, man. That's you. And so you love these kids, you love this community, you love this school, and man, I'm just very blessed, and I'm very fortunate to work with you every day, and I said I'll have to make my trips to come over to this east side, give you a fist bump, say, hey, you have a great day, dude. And man, it's gonna be a fun year. It's gonna be a fun year, and people watching, come out to our football games. You'll see. You'll get to hear the voice. Yep. I am the voice of Thursday night football, man. So those junior high games, you're gonna be thinking, who is that guy announcing every little thing? Yep. That's me. Yep. That's me.
Man, that's right.
And so I'll do that. I'll be around. I'll be all junior high games, all the football, volleyball. I get to coach cross country this year, so I get to impact even more kids that are there and stuff. And I'll get to actually see our cross country meet and get to see those kids compete and stuff like that. It's the first time in 5 years I'll be able to do it, because they always ask me, Coach, when are you going to come watch us run? Can you please come watch us run? And I either get caught up with football or caught up somewhere else. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to go watch y'all run this year. And I am actually in that sport, so I get to watch you not just once, but however many cross country meets we have, whether it's 5 with the junior high or 8 or 9 with the high school, hopefully we make it to regionals and state and all that good stuff. But, it's going to be fun, man. And again, dude, I appreciate you having me on, dude. And, my goal is trying to make you cry and everything, but no, dude, it's awesome. Let's get this thing going, man.
It's nothing but love, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. All right, man. That's
it.
I'm in my emotions a lot. That's all good, man.
All good.
That does mean a lot, man. I don't want you to think that, yeah, you can stop it. I don't want you to think that, like, this is all fake or nothing like that.
No, this is
I don't open up very much to, like, people like this, and that this helps me. So, like, if nothing else, this is therapy for me.
yeah.
So I'm kind of selfish in that standpoint. But, man, I wasn't a cool kid, so it's hard for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
And,
like,
you know, I wasn't really like that at all, man. I just kind of was. I was like your basic student. I was a basic student. You know, I didn't make all straight A's. I had C's. I had struggles. You know, it is what it is. But you know, the bottom line is we're two good dudes.
no, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
a lot. Oh, hold on. So you like blue? There you go. This is for you. I had these custom made for just the guests. So it's bright blue, and then inside there is just a bunch of different kind of stickers.
Okay.
So this is for you. Thank you. Come on.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. So we'll see you in the morning. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Ready, set, go bananas!